if you're a pastor and you're preaching every week, you're a content creator and you have amazing content. The next step is how do we throw hooks out there so people in the community, people who need to hear this message are actually, how are we reeling them in?
Welcome to the Propel Podcast, inspiration and innovation to grow your church. I'm your host, Larry Witzel. If God is giving you big dreams for growing His kingdom, then this is the podcast for you. Our goal is to offer practical training for effective evangelism in the Seventh-day Adventist ministry context, but the principles we talk about are applicable in many other churches as well. So wherever you're doing ministry, welcome to the Propel Podcast. If you enjoy the podcast, you're going to love the Propel Conference coming April 12 to 15 to Silver Spring, Maryland. There's nothing like experiencing the Propel Conference in person as you gather with other growth-minded church leaders for 4 days of inspiration and innovation for church growth. You can still get an early access discount, and you'll save even more by bringing 4 or more people from your church or district. You can register today at propelconference.org. This episode features Ernesto Hernandez, a filmmaker, AI specialist, and media strategist dedicated to helping the church navigate the digital age. As the media director for the Washington Conference and an AI integration consultant, he explores how technology, AI, and social media can be powerful tools for evangelism and community engagement. Ernesto's mission is to equip pastors with the knowledge and strategies to use digital platforms effectively, ensuring that the church remains relevant and impactful in an ever-evolving world. In this presentation, Ernesto Hernandez discusses the transformative role of media and AI in ministry, emphasizing the importance of creativity and community engagement. He shares insights on leveraging AI tools for effective content creation using the Guided Growth podcast as a case study. We'll hear from Ernesto Hernandez in just a moment. Before we get to his presentation, though, I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of this episode, Advent Source. No matter what ministries are happening at your church, from evangelism and VBS to Pathfinders and community services, Advent Source can help. Advent Source is the official leadership resource center for the Seventh-day Adventist Church in North America. They provide materials for evangelism, Sabbath school, community-friendly seminars, Pathfinder and adventure clubs, and more. I want to highlight 2 resources in particular that are available from Advent Source. The first is a bridge event on creation science created by Dr. Stan Hudson called Origins, and the second is a full message evangelistic series by David Kleindienst called Forecasting Hope. My team has worked with a number of churches who have found both of these resources particularly effective. You can learn more about Origins and Forecasting Hope along with all their other incredible resources at adventsource.org. Okay, here is Ernesto Hernandez's Tuesday breakout track from the 2025 Propel Conference and his topic, Evangelism in the Age of AI, Reaching More Souls with Smart Technology.
My name is Ernesto. I'm the media director here for the Washington Conference. And my role is at the conference, it's more how can we use media for ministry? Not really media as a tool for ministry, not really media as an internal tool, which has been done for many years, because now we know that media is a huge tool for, media in itself is a branch of evangelism. It is a tool that can be used for evangelism, not necessarily just as the guy that puts the cameras and record, but how can we use media actively? People that know how to use media actively to be out in the community doing ministry. So that's pretty much I would call it my 9 to 5. But then on the side, I do a lot of AI consulting, AI implementation. I help small businesses to do implementation and teaching and coaching. Part of that is I've done it in my conference. How do I help my departmentals be more efficient, be more successful, be able to dream a little bigger using tools such as AI? I'll give you a quick example. For example, once upon a time, Treasury was having a big problem with one of their formulas. We're talking Treasury, the finance department, and my wife works in Treasury, and she's like, hey, we're struggling. We have this deadline by the end of today. we need to send this report to the NAD, and we're struggling because we keep getting errors. And she's like, we don't know who to call to help us with this. And I said, well, I don't know code, I don't know macros, I don't know Excel, but I do know a tool that can probably help us. So we popped open ChatGPT, and I was like, hey, ChatGPT, we're having this issue. Here's the formulas, here's what the outcomes that we should be getting, and we're not getting them. 15 minutes later, the formula was solved, and we were able to proceed. It would have cost us hundreds of dollars to call like a technician or someone that knows how to code. And again, their deadline was in 3 hours. In 3 hours, how do you get, someone that knows how to code macros for Excel in that time period? So those are ways, not to say that we're getting rid of people that code, but it was a way to help us. So in today's presentation, I'm going to show you a lot of ways that we've been using AI to help us do evangelistic things and pretty much just a tool to help us be a little more efficient. So my presentation is not to tell you, here's how you do it, but to inspire you, to give you ideas. And I want to see those wheels spinning, because one of the biggest obstacles we're seeing, and we'll talk about it, is we want to see more creativity. We want to see more innovation, because when you start connecting dots, that's when you start seeing better results in your work. Many times we're just stuck in spinning the wheel the same way, and we forget that there's other ways to solve problems. So today we want to learn how to leverage artificial intelligence to create more effective and impactful strategies. But first, we're going to do a little bit of a history class. As humans, one of our biggest talents and gifts is creativity. We've been able to create tools, not just any tools, but most of the tools we create are to help us expand our abilities. And there are 4 types of tools that humans create. Every tool man has created can be put into one of these 4 boxes. We have 4 types. We have tools that extend our physical strengths. So the plow, the knife, a bulldozer. Me and my hands cannot push a lot of dirt, so we invented something called the bulldozer. We invented the plow. Again, these are tools to help us expand. And I'm sure we can think of many other tools. So tools, that's one category of tools that man has created. Another one is tools to help us extend the range of our senses. And many times we don't think of tools as technology, but this is technology that man has created. So we have like the microscope, the telescope. We have things to read radiation, which are things that our eyes can't see, our skin can't feel it. So we created tools and technology to be able to see those things. Then we have tools to reshape nature to our needs. Who loves air conditioner? That is a tool in technology that reshapes the world for our personal needs. Who loves the heater? Knee replacement, and biomodified corn and food. Those are, again, we've created those tools and technologies. Then we go into tools that extend or support our mental capacities. And that's what we're going to focus on. That's where we have things like the alphabet, the book, the calculator. Did you ever think that the book is considered a piece of technology? No, right? Nowadays we think technology and we think, the camera, the computer, the cell phone, the smartphone, AI. The chair itself is technology because it extends our ability to sit upright for long periods of time. So we have technology that helps us expand our capabilities. So we have the alphabet, the book, the calculator. And I'm sure many of you have heard the debates of, once upon a time, the debate of the computer. Is the computer good or bad? Is the internet good or bad? Is Facebook good or bad? And now we have, is AI good or bad? Well, that debate is not a new debate. We actually have, like I said, we're in history class. There's actually a debate that is documented that took place 2,500 years ago. That is 500 years before Christ, where two highly intellectual individuals are debating about technology. What type of technology do you think they were debating on? Written words. They were literally debating, and this is the debate. We have Plato and Socrates debating. A dependence on the technology of the alphabet will alter a person's mind. This is Socrates talking to Plato. And not for the better, but substituting outer symbols for inner memories, writing threatens to make us shallower thinkers, he said, preventing us from achieving the intellectual depth that leads to wisdom and true happiness.
Wow.
Socrates was anti-technology. He was anti the technology of the alphabet. He said, the more we start outsourcing our memories and our brain to paper, the dumber humans are going to be. Right? Man. So I'll leave that on your heads to think about. And then we have Plato, he was very pro-technology, pro-alphabet writing. Why do we have writings by Plato and no writings by Socrates? So Socrates was, I will teach you and you will save it on your mind. And again, it kind of goes hand in hand with Jesus' teachings. Have it in your mind and in your heart, and that's it. Eventually, there's writers that start documenting everything. Plato being one of them, Plato being his disciple and being one of them. So anyways, this is very interesting. So if you ever hear people debating on new technology, now we know there's proven documentation that the debate's been going on for centuries in regards to technology. And eventually through this presentation, like I said, my focus, yes, I will show you some tools, how to use AI for evangelism and all these things, but we will also touch on some of the ethics of AI, which is very important because to know the ethics of AI is to know both sides of the coin, and then we make our own decision. I cannot just show you the shiny things or just show you the dark things. We will see both sides of the coin, and then we will discuss. So then we have the creation of the internet. Again, it is a tool to help us expand our mental capacities, which led to the birth of social media platforms. Without the internet, we had no social media. We don't have no Google, we have no Wikipedia, we have no Facebook, no MySpace, which helped amplify voices, making content creation accessible to everyone. The creation of social media, so we have the creation of the internet, which was a platform where companies would post things. Then we have bloggers who start creating websites, and you start reading websites, but most people would just go and read content. The birth of social media allows for that back and forth interaction. Now I can comment on things. Now I can like, I can dislike, and that's when we have the evolution of the internet, which then leads to content creation, and now we all interact with these technologies, with the internet, because it was not always the way it's been. And now we have a new technology. We have AI, which is a tool that helps to amplify voices even more. And this is going to be my take on AI. Instead of replacing human creativity, AI should be used to enhance and accelerate idea generation and execution. We should not be outsourcing our knowledge and thinking to putting it on paper, like Socrates was debating. We shouldn't be outsourcing our creativity and thinking to AI, but it should be something that walks behind us, something that we can refer to like, hey, help me. I've hit the wall. I need some help. How can I move forward? It shouldn't be the one that leads the way. It shouldn't be the one, hey, write me a sermon about this. That's you letting AI lead the way. Whereas if you're working on a sermon about something and you're like, hey, are there other writers that talk about this topic in this type of way, in this type of depth? Can you help me discover? Now we're using it as a tool. Again, and that is one of the controversies of AI, that many people are forgetting that it is a tool for us to use, and many people are allowing it to lead the way. So again, keep this in mind. And now with the help of AI, a single person can now create, I'm sure you've seen many AI content online or on YouTube. You can search for stuff. You can literally search for AI-generated documentary. A single person cannot create documentary styles with AI, with using voiceovers, creating footage, creating animations, creating graphics, creating all these things. And I'm going to show you an example of how we used AI as a tool to help us create a project. And that's what I'm going to walk you through. This is a project that we created last year. And it was a podcast. We made a podcast. The education department came to the media department and said, hey, Ernesto, we want to promote Adventist education. What can we do? They could have easily said, Ernesto, we're going to promote Adventist education. Can you make us a flyer? That would have been an option. But they said, help us think of innovative ways to promote Adventist education. That was the problem. How do we promote Adventist education? Through Washington. Did you know that our probably greatest asset within the Adventist church is teachers? We have probably more teachers than pastors. Teachers are usually in the classroom, and they have, it's a little church in a way in the classroom, and they are highly equipped, highly knowledgeable individuals. So I was like, and they're just stuck in a classroom. So I said, okay, this was the train of thought as we're creating this project. So I told them, give me 2 to 3 weeks and I will pitch an idea to you. The idea that came was we should create something called the Guided Growth Podcast. Why Guided Growth Podcast? We said, because we have a lot of teachers and we have a lot of knowledge that people are looking for. Again, how are we going to meet the needs of the community? How are we going to meet the needs of people in Seattle, families? As a new parent, I said, I wish a teacher would come to me and be like, hey, Ernesto, here are 5 tips on how to help your child be successful at school. Imagine professionals would come up to you and said, hey, brother, I know you have kids. Here are a couple tips. I have 30 years of experience in the educational system. Let me give you 5 tips to help your kiddo be more successful at school. It's like, who doesn't need that? Who doesn't want that? So the idea was like, let's make a podcast to do that for the community. So we were promoting Adventist education, and we were hitting the evangelistic check mark, because we were going to share how does Adventist, and we didn't say how does Adventist education, how does our education help. And the first thing is, we know the needs of the community are, people are looking for help on raising their children. Sometimes with Christian values or just with good values. Anybody, any new parent needs that type of help. So we said, let's create a podcast where we bring in our teachers, we interview them, and teachers give tips and pointers for parents, any parent from any community, for single moms, for whoever. The other challenge was, we know there's a huge need in the English-speaking community, but as a Hispanic, I wish my mom would have had that type of help. I wish my mom would have gotten some of those tips, because it would have helped us a lot. So being Hispanic, I'm like, and knowing the Hispanic culture and knowing the needs of the Hispanic community, was like, we should make the podcast a bilingual podcast. Let's make it in English and in Spanish. So everybody's like, oh, so you used AI to make English to Spanish. No. We actually did every episode in Spanish and in English. We looked for teachers who were bilingual. And then I was the host for the English segment. And then we had Sister Vicky. She was one of my associate producers for the podcast. And she would do the Spanish part, because we know the needs of the English-speaking community could be very different than the needs of the Spanish-speaking community. So again, we could drive the conversations very differently, tailored to the needs of each community. So this was a project, one of its kind, the Guided Growth Podcast. It is the only bilingual podcast that exists in Spotify, where every episode is in English and in Spanish and tailored to each, the needs of each community. Okay, what does that have to do with AI? Well, I was a one-man team, and I wanted to produce this whole project It was gonna be video, it was gonna be audio, it needed captions, it needed thumbnails, it needed intros, it needed so much. Think of your local church. When you live stream, it's not just live streaming, it's who is making the thumbnail for YouTube? Who is writing the title? Who is writing the caption? Who is being the community manager? And if you don't have any of those people in place, make sure you start thinking about that, because it's not just we're streaming and then you put the title sermon for Saturday the 28th of October and there's no caption. So if we wanted to reach people in the community who we were targeting, we needed to make sure we check mark all these things. Proper thumbnails, proper captions, proper titles, proper hashtags, proper SEO. Do I know that stuff? I do, but I also have 10 other projects lined up. That is not the only project I was working on. You know, just like education wanted this project, I was working on another project, and stewardship needs another project, and children's ministries needs another project, and I have a church calling me because they need help fixing their AV, and then I have to preach on Saturday. So I was like, okay, I need my handy dandy friend AI to help me with all this. So I'm about to show you the workflow of how I did this. And this is to inspire you to get the wheels spinning, and not to say go make a pod. I know some of you were in the podcast workshop yesterday. This is gonna help you a lot. And if you were not, here's some ideas. And if you're trying to work on any other project, even for your church live stream, for your sermons, for your sermon series, here's how you can use AI to help you with all those things. Here's the tools that I used. We're going to start there. Tools used, AI. They're all AI. Descript, OpenAI, which is ChatGPT. We use Suno, 11 Labs, and Opus Clip. And I'm about to show you how I used each one and the workflow of each one. I know some of my pastors use Opus Clip. I know some of my pastors use 11 Labs. I know some of my directors use Descript. Let me explain to you what each one does. Descript is an AI that transcribes audio to text. You give it an audio recording or a video recording, and it will give you a transcript. It will give you a Word document of all the words and lingo and everything. OpenAI, ChatGPT, we know what ChatGPT does. We know what it is. We talk to it. You chat. It answers questions. It helps you with that. Suno is a music generation AI. You give it inspiration, you prompt it, and it makes music. I will give you some samples later on. 11 Labs does the opposite of Descript. 11 Labs does text to audio. So you type things, you select the voice, and then it reads it in that voice. Opus Clips is a AI editor, which helps you edit for social media. It cuts out you can select 30-second clips, 60-second clips, 90 seconds, 120 seconds, and it will cut them out. It will do the captions and all these other cool things. So really quick rundown on the tools I use for this project. So we're gonna walk through the process of this project. Step 1, record in-person bilingual episodes with bilingual guests. So we went out searching for the teachers, found the host, we set up the studio, set up the lights, the mics, all the in-person stuff. None of that was done by AI. It was real people talking to each other in a real setting, and we had Subway. So that was step 1. So once we recorded the episodes, and we would record about every week, I think. We would record 2 episodes a week. In total, we did 6 episodes as a pilot. So we recorded. So once we recorded the episodes, it's like, okay, time to start editing. That's when AI comes in. Step 2, I use Descript to extract entire transcripts from the recording. So once we had the recordings, because they were video, so it was going to be a video and audio podcast. We were going to extract the audio and put it on Spotify, and the video was going to live on YouTube. But I needed that transcript. I needed to know what everyone said. I needed to know what I said. I needed to know what Vicky said. I needed to know what our guest said. Because, yes, we talked, but do I remember what we said? No. And was I going to sit down and watch all the episodes, have a marathon of all the episodes? No, because that was going to take too much time. And so I was like, okay, I need the transcript. So we used Descript to get the entire transcript out. Step 3, train ChatGPT. We gave ChatGPT clear instructions about the project and what ChatGPT's role was going to be. And I think I have a copy of that prompt. Yeah. So this is what I told ChatGPT. We are launching a podcast called Guided Growth. The intention of this podcast is to have teachers share useful information for parents to help their children be more successful at school and their day-to-day. You will be my production assistant for this podcast. You will work on certain elements that are my weakness. So I gave it the context of the podcast. I gave it, the meaning. Eventually I gave it the meaning of why we picked this title. We told it who our target audience was. We told it what was the goal to the podcast. And then we told it what makes this podcast unique. Because if it's going to be my assistant, it needs to know everything that I have in here. So I got writing. Okay, this is what we're going to do. This is what I need you for. Once that happened, ChatGPT was trained. Like I said, one conversation of ChatGPT was trained on exactly what needed to happen. And that was going to be my assistant. Okay, step 4. So once I had the transcripts, we were going to work on the titles and intros. So with my entire transcript of everything that was talked about in the podcast, we gave it to ChatGPT to craft titles and intros based on the transcript. I don't know. Yeah, I don't have that prompt here. But it was pretty much, hey, here's a transcript of episode 1. I need you to give me 3 ideas for the title and then make me a catchy intro. You know those intros when you're listening to a podcast like, hey, welcome to this podcast. In today's episode, we're going to talk to expert Diana about da-da-da. I needed ChatGPT to generate the script for that intro. Because could I do it? Yes, but it was very time consuming. I was like, okay, we did all the hard part. We did the hard work. Now ChatGPT can walk side by side with us to do this. So ChatGPT, in this one, you can do this if you're a pastor or if you can follow these steps to improve your YouTube channel for your church. Again, I'm the media director for the conference, and these are literally the same steps I walk with AV teams and pastors on how to improve your YouTube channel, because if you're using your live streams, should be one of your greatest outreach tools for your church. And if you're only reaching the 3 church members who can't come to church, get rid of it. That's my take. That's what I tell churches. So your live stream should be your number 1 outreach tool to capture the attention of your communities. But if you don't have good titles, if you don't have good captions, if you don't have the proper SEO, only your subscribers will see your video and your live stream. And who are your subscribers? Your own church members. So you will keep preaching to church members. You will not reach your community. And evangelism is reaching the community, not reaching the people in the pew. So if you're trying to do that, so again, these steps, using ChatGPT and these tools in this matter can help your YouTube channel, especially your live stream. So you can take your live stream, and if your church has a recording of it, take that video of the sermon, and later on we're going to talk about how you can do that. So we were working on titles. Next thing, we needed to work on an intro music because we needed to have like cool music. It's a podcast. We want people to be engaged with it. So that's where Suno came in. Suno's an AI that generates original music. I was not going to go break the law and steal stuff from YouTube. I was not going to go and steal stuff from some artist. I did not want to get a $25,000 copyright lawsuit. So we used Suno. So this was the prompt Suno to make a cheerful background track for the podcast. And this was the prompt, a cheerful, uplifting instrumental track for a podcast intro. Children's educational elements and soft instruments. That's what I gave Suno. Eventually, you're going to see the final product. You're going to hear the final product as well. Because I needed original music for this podcast. Again, my budget for this whole project was $200.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If my budget was $25,000, I would have gone and hired some musicians and supported a worship team and donated to a school and an orchestra. But I have $200 to make $200 to advertise our Adventist educational system. Think about that. So then we go, so again, I'm like, okay, I have $200. How can I use my AI assistants to help me do all of this? And when I say me and my team, I'm talking about me and like 6 AIs. So, like I said, then we made like original music and da-da-da. Yeah, whenever I say...
You don't understand the language then.
Yeah. When I say me and my team, it's like me and 6 AIs. Next step, train 11 labs. I wanted to have intros, but we had already recorded the whole podcast series. Trying to record intros was, okay, we need to go back to the studio. We need to help pay someone to be the voice and create these intros and spend a lot of time in the studio, a lot of editing. Well, with the help of our intern, we took her voice and we trained an AI to replicate her voice with her permission, and we checkmark all the things. And she's like, I would love to be part of this project. I would love to be the voice of this project. So I did a recording of her voice, and then I gave it to an AI and trained an AI with her voice. So train an AI voice model to be used as our podcast intro and outro speaker. Here's the other thing. Remember, it's a bilingual podcast. That means we needed to have intros in English and also intros in Spanish. So we use ChatGPT. So we used the scripts that ChatGPT generated for us for the intros, and we gave them to 11 labs using her voice model. And then AI magic, we had everything in Spanish and English. And I told our intern, I was like, do you want to hear what you sound like in Spanish? She doesn't speak Spanish. And she's like, so she heard herself speaking Spanish because of AI. So that was fun. She's like, sure. So I was like, okay, come into the office. Are you ready? Imagine yourself. Imagine hearing your voice. You speaking Russian or Korean or a whole other language that you don't speak. We were able to do that with AI. And so we created these intros and outros for each episode in Spanish and in English with one recording. I spent 30 minutes with her recording and then about 30 minutes training the AI. And then after that, it was a no-brainer. We were able to crank, which would have taken maybe a compiled total of about 20 hours if we did it in the studio. I was able to do it in about a grand total of 2.5 to 3 hours to do all 6 episodes, intros and outros. And plus promos, because we also did promos. So like, hey, coming soon, be on the lookout for this project. So we generated all of those things. Next step. So now we have the product. I'm editing. So as AI is handing me stuff, as AI is handing me voices and AI is handing me music, I'm editing. I'm putting the pieces together. I'm putting, okay, the intro clip, the music. I'm building the puzzle. AI is just handing me the pieces. But I'm instructing it to give me the pieces. So then we used Opus Clips to edit social media clips. Opus Clips gave us 60-second social media clips with captions and impactful descriptions. So once we had the final episodes, we threw each episode at Opus Clips, and I was like, give me 60-second clips that are highly impactful in the area of education and that they tell the story of the teacher, and do all the editing and cutting for me, please. I gave it, which I'm an editor. I edit videos for a living. I know how to edit quick, not AI quick. What would have taken me a seasoned editor, each episode, to cut out about 10 pastors. This is how much work goes into this type of stuff. So say thank you to your media teams on my behalf. I gave it each episode. Each episode was 20 minutes. And it would have taken me to cut out 10 reels per episode would have taken me, seasoned editor, about 3 days per episode. We're talking 6 episodes per language, so that's 12 episodes. So it would have taken me, let's say, 2 days to cut out 10. And that's me only doing that single job for about 10 hours a day. So it would have taken me about a month to do all this editing. With AI, I was able to upload the videos, let it work overnight, come into the office next morning, and it's like, here's your 10 clips. And I was like, thank you, AI. So we were able to do that. And then the cool thing was like it made captions, and it also made us the descriptions. So we already had titles, we had captions, descriptions, we had clips. This whole project was already packaged. This is, like I said, this was the last step. So we started uploading the content to YouTube, Spotify, started scheduling. Again, that's a human task. I'm uploading, scheduling, pretty easy. In a day, I was able to schedule the whole podcast. And then we were able to schedule all the, I think we made, in total, we ended up exporting for the whole project about 30 reels in total for the whole project. That was a day's task, just schedule everything out. And that's our Project Guided Growth podcast. If you haven't listened to it, please go listen to it. And share it with your community. Eventually, the goal was this is not content. I mean, it is content for Adventists, but our target audience was not Adventist parents. Will Adventists benefit from it? Yes. But will anyone else benefit from it? Of course. That was the whole intention, to reach people in communities that were in need of good educational content. Once we release this project, let me show you some of the samples. So if we have audio, if we don't. So this is one of our promo. Let's see if it plays.
Welcome to Guided Growth, the podcast where your role as a parent takes center stage. We're thrilled to invite you to join us for our very first episode.
So that's the AI voice, and that's the AI music.
This isn't
The editing, I did it.
podcast. It's a bilingual adventure.
Oh, and the transcript is AI generated too.
Specifically for parents like you. Imagine a place where faith, family,
So we were able to make little things like this.
offer you the best insights and strategies for raising well.
So next I'm going to show you one of the clips that we cut out for social media. Well, me and AI. This is one of the teachers, Teacher Joy. She's the Spanish teacher at Auburn Adventist Academy, or was. But she's an amazing teacher. Again, she's bilingual, so she was able to be in the Spanish and in the English episode. But this is one of the English. No. Let's see if we can get it to play.
When other students learn about someone else's culture, whether through it's eating the amazing food that their parents came and helped prepare in the cafeteria on Cultural Chapel Day, or learning about the students' experience, it makes a connection, and a connection makes a friendship. The more we can understand about someone else, I think the more we respect them, and then we grow together as a community.
That is powerful. And you said something really interesting. You just said parents come and help in the cafeteria.
For Cultural Chapel Day, like they will get the
What?
recipes.
Yeah.
They will help make whatever it is we're doing, whatever food it is, like empanadas. They'll come in and help make them, and the students are working with their parents as well and helping to do this together.
Okay. So that's one of the clips we cut out and put on social media to promote. And again, these little clips are just hooks. They're just hooks. We're hoping people are going to run through this and be like, wow, that's interesting. Let me go and listen to the full episode. That is the intention of short format content. If you're making short format content for your local church, it should be a hook to something bigger and better. Many people struggle, and we'll touch a little bit on content creation. Many people focus on the short format, but forget the long format. Many people focus on the long format and completely forget the short format. Pastors are really good at making long format content, but they're not that good at throwing little hooks out there for the community to come and like, hey, let me bring you in and now you can listen to the sermon. Again, those are some of the intentions that we wanted to do. Use AI. Like I said, if you're a pastor and you're preaching every week, you're a content creator and you have amazing content. The next step is how do we throw hooks out there so people in the community, people who need to hear this message are actually, how are we reeling them in? That was the purpose of creating so many of these little short ones so we can reach people. So when people listen to this, they're like, I want my kid to go to a school where they have cultural food day, and I want to be part of a community where parents come in and do hands-on stuff. Let me go take a look and listen more to this episode. Who is that teacher? Here's the evangelistic side of this project. We started getting DMs, private messages. It's like, who are you people and why do you care about the well-being of my child? Who is the school that is talking about Cultural Day? And who is the school that is so focused on these? So the community, the Seattle community, started wondering, who are these people? We're talking about the education thing. It's like, who are these? First of all, why do you care so much about me that you're giving me free information that is actually beneficial to me as a parent and to my child in their education? Because most of the time it's like, I'm not going to give you a hand unless I benefit from it. Most of the time that's what happens. We're like, we just care for the community. We just want people. Now, if you're interested about our schools, here, contact the principal of that school. We were actually able to connect about 6 families to some of our schools in Washington Conference because they were people that sent us DMs. We didn't have millions of views and millions of likes and millions of stuff, but the few that we had were actual leads to Adventist education. And that was $200, this whole project. And it's a project that will live on and help. In 2030, people will watch this and it will still be helpful to them. A flyer would have been, we hand out the flyers. Those flyers are dead and in the trash within a couple of days or minutes from when it's handed. Something like this lives on and it keeps multiplying, it keeps giving. The ROI is infinite. As long as it lives in the digital space and as long as these hooks are out there, as long as these seats are out there, people will come in. We didn't have to make 20 seasons. We made 1 season. One well-crafted season. We threw the seats out. And till this day, we keep getting DMs. Hey, I bumped into that podcast. A friend recommended that one episode. And not only with English-speaking, but Spanish-speaking families that we're able to refer to our Spanish-speaking churches. Or, again, just helping the community. So, again, this is how we used AI to create an evangelistic strategy. And I say we, me and AI. Of course, with the support of the education department, they said, well, here's a little bit of money. And they did support by giving us access to teachers. They said, hey, if you need a teacher to come down from North Cascade, we'll make sure we'll take care of getting them a sub and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, awesome. So yeah, that's the project. You can look it up, Guided Growth Podcast on YouTube and on Spotify. If you have Spanish-speaking people that you're like, hey, my Spanish speaker folks and friends, here's a podcast that will help you parents. Again, meeting the needs of our community was our first goal. Many people go with, we need to up enrollment at school. And that's the focus. We forget, okay, let's meet the need and then they will come. And then it will come. So we forget that initial investment. So yeah, that's, like I said, this one didn't have any background music or anything like that. And this is that tool, I'm telling you, like Suno. Another way that I use Suno now, there's this huge thing. Again, I'm a media director, so I know what is happening in the media space for churches. Recently, a lot of churches' YouTube channels and live streams have been getting taken down because of copyright infringement. In the US, pastors have made the top 5 individuals who break copyright. Bravo. Pastors are on the top 5 individuals who break copyright in the US. So the other thing was like, okay, that's a problem. How do we start tackling that problem? Because it is so easy to copy paste. Copyright is a whole other class that I talk about and have resources about. We'll touch a little bit on that. Yes, my brother.
Is that, curious, is that because of like Google Images or more of the
Oh yeah.
content?
It's Google Images, just copy paste. It's so easy to copy paste. It's so easy for the church to go on YouTube and Hillsong Oceans play and use it as the background music for your live stream. It's so easy to, hey, we need to make announcements. Let me go on Google, image of Jesus or image of sunset, copy, paste, and throw it up on the screen without ever asking for permission. So that's what breaking copyright means. You don't ask for permission, you just take it. It's a whole like, oh, I need a trash can at home. There's a trash can right there. Let me take that and put it at home. Nobody knows, and then Craig comes over to my house. He's like, dude, that's the trash can. It's his, it's his school and classroom. So that's what's happening in the media space for live streams. Churches' live streams keep getting taken down. YouTube channels, Facebook keeps blocking pages of churches, and people are like, they're coming after the Christian community. No, you're breaking copyright. So one of the ways, again, as a conference employee, and I take care of the production of camp meeting, one of the ways I look out to cover, how do I cover the back of my employer? How do we do things right? One way could be I go out and we record all original music with musicians. Again, very time consuming. We need a lot of resources. But we started using, again, Suno as a tool to create background music. So when we have camp meeting and, we have like the countdown and the waiting, and it's like, live stream will begin in 3 minutes. You need to play some background music. So we started generating music with AI to play background music. And so all the elevator music that happens within church, we just make it with AI. And even for original videos that we're making, now we make videos. If you've been to Washington Conference camp meeting, you see those intro videos where it's like, hey, welcome to camp meeting. We're so excited that you're back. And there's music playing in the background. All that music is AI generated. And by doing that, we don't have to worry about breaking copyright because we are using, quote unquote, original AI generated music. Now, will that become a debate down the road? That's a problem for the future. So yeah, and we use it. So again, being the media person, we need to, sometimes I record videos for evangelism. I record videos for the president. Most of the time you need to put background music in it. We go to Suno, generate original. I generate about 30 different tracks just to pick one. And again, it's a general one. The other thing is because we're going to be distributing the content. If it was a video that I make and we're just going to watch in this room, probably don't have to use AI. I can use a song and put it. But since it's going to be content that's going to be distributed through churches and it's going to live on YouTube and it's going to live on these social platforms, we need to make sure we are watching our back. So that's where AI comes in for music generation. So I've told several pastors that I've talked to, that I've had the initial conversation with, you don't have to do it. I can train your people, your AV people, your media people, find someone and we'll train them on how to do this. So, or the other option that we're talking about is, can we generate our own stock music that our churches can have access to it? Okay, we've generated these 1,000 songs. Washington Conference pastors will have access to it. You don't have to worry about you going to YouTube to steal background elevator music anymore. You can just go to Washington Conference original content and download stuff and tell your media teams, tell your AV teams, hey, keep using that resource. I know my brother loves that right there. He's an AV director at a church. So again, these are things that as a media director, I'm working on to make sure we're watching the backs of our local churches. Now, if a local church is, we have infinite money and we want to make our own original music with our orchestra and pay people to come, go for it. But we don't, not to make, 1,000 stock songs for churches to use. So again, we're meeting that need for the local church and for pastors. And another thing that you can use AI to help you out with is image generation. I know a lot of you are already doing that. I know I've even contacted some of you to be like, hey, can you share that prompt with me? And I would love to see, because now you can generate. So this is an image series that I made for a presentation series based on biblical images as mosaics with a very unique touch. But you can, again, how do we stop breaking copyright? Use AI for your sermon series, for your announcements. But again, my goal is not to add to your plate, but to bring awareness to the problem and bring awareness that there are tools that exist. And how can we help your local church? Maybe there's so many young adults and youth that are looking for a purpose within the church. Imagine pastors collaborating with youth and being like, hey, but not just squeezing energy and talent out of them, but investing into them. I'm working with the local church that they said, hey, we have this much money. Do you recommend we pay a graphic designer? They're like, we want to up our graphics. We want to up our bulletins. We've raised so much money to pay a graphic designer. Like, okay, but what happens when you run out of money and the graphic designers can't work for you anymore? Your announcements and slides and everything goes back down. My pitch to them was, talk to your youth. Who in your youth or young adults are interested in graphic design? Is there anyone doing graphic design? Is there anyone tinkering with, again, this is a discipleship moment for this church. But all they saw was, we need to go higher. We need to outsource. My response was discipleship. Can we find one or two teens in your local church who are interested in graphic design? Don't look for teens that are good at graphic designs. Don't look for people, because at that point, you're just making a transactional relationship with them. Ooh, I'm interested in you because you're going to give me this. I'm going to extract all this out of you. That's a no-no. Talk to your teens. Has anyone ever considered being a graphic designer? Is anyone thinking about being a graphic designer in the future as a profession? This church found 2 teenagers. Okay. Next step. So this church had $10,000 to pay a graphic designer. I told them, how much is a graphic design course online? How much is a graphic design course at the community college? $500 for a course. That means they have $9,500 still in the piggy bank. So they enrolled these 2 teenagers. They moved their target of graphic design 6 months out. And they said, okay, we're going to pay for you to go to community college to start working on your graphic design. So now you have these high school kids who are going to high school. And now the church is discipling. The church doesn't have graphic designers to teach them, but the church did have funds. So they're sending them to the community college to learn graphic design. And while the students are learning, now they have a place to put all that learning into practice. They start working at the local church. So that was a way to do discipleship. And guess what? Not only did those students graduate from that course, they came back and then they started teaching other teenagers. They started discipling themselves at the local church. And now the $9,500, they're like, oh, we're going to sponsor you and buy a computer for graphic design. We're going to buy a Canva membership. We're going to pay for Adobe products. We're going to equip you with all the tools for you to develop. And now these teenagers already have a head start to their professional development.
And the church is benefiting.
And the church, so it's a win-win. And we have so many teenagers who are already working into this, but how many people are actually investing into them? We tend to look for the people that are already good at it, but we forget to look into the people that are already starting to play with it. That's a chance for us to disciple, to invest into our own members. And again, like I said, the return on investment for that local church through these 2 teenagers is endless at this point. If they would have paid a graphic designer, they would have ran out of money in a year. And then they're back at square one. Whereas investing into these 2 teenagers, they're at the local church for another 3 years. And then those teenagers are going to teach other teenagers. So it's just going to keep multiplying, just like discipleship should be. And again, that's a way that media, I always say, how is your media department being a ministry as well? That's me being a media director talking to you. So yeah, I generated these. So these are ways to also help at the local church. And again, it's not me. I don't want to add to your plate, but identify individuals that can become an asset to help in these evangelistic things. So yeah, these are some of the images that I've generated for different campaigns that I've done and for people. And then did this series of Jesus, cartoon Jesus, which I know how. I don't know how to do 2D animation, but I know how to use AI very well to achieve these outcomes. So again, think of that's kind of the future of what we're seeing. A lot of the things, the saying in the industry is AI is not going to take your job away. Someone that knows how to use AI effectively will. So many people are thinking all the jobs that AI is going to take away. It's like, no, it's going to be people that know how to use these tools that will. Yes, brother?
What app are you?
This is all Midjourney.
Okay.
You know I'm a Midjourney lover. I'm a Midjourney, that's my go-to tool. So then after Midjourney came up with character replication, I was able to generate one, obviously through hundreds of tests and trials. Eventually I was able to replicate the style and replicate the Jesus character through different scenes. That's a whole class on image generation. And same with this other one. Once I was able to create this style and this scene, I was able to generate similar, I mean, we know this scene, we know this biblical scene, we know this biblical scene, and we know this biblical scene. So, but they all follow the same style and characteristics to stay in style. So that's a 300 level course on AI image generation. So there's that. Now again, this is the first time I'm gonna share what's next that I've ever shared. This is a project I've been working on. Like I said, I don't want to add to your plate. I want to contribute to your plate and help you. And I've been working on this project, and I said, okay, I know this is digital evangelism, and we talk a lot about content creation. Any people in content creation here, like shorts, reels, anyone interested in? I see a couple like nods. People are interested. Okay. Like I said, pastors, speakers are amazing at content creating, the long format, sermons. They're very good. So I was like, okay, there's a need because they're great. They're amazing sermons. They're amazing speakers. But how do we help them reach that shorter sector, the short video? With the help of AI, it's something called AI agents. I was like, okay, can we create an agent that helps meet that need? Can I make an agent? I keep saying we. Can I make an agent that will take, and here's the thing, they already exist out there, AIs that take your long format video and make little short videos. That's been done. But what if we took your sermon scripts, your transcripts, and made them into short format scripts that you could have for TikTok, for shorts? So again, it does require a second filming section, but there's a whole science behind what makes a good script for short format content. So that was kind of the goal that a need that I've seen that our pastors have. Like I said, they're really good at writing out sermons. They're really good at typing it out. They're very good at exposing the sermon. But I'm like, okay, now I need you to say what you said in that sermon in 90 seconds, making it highly, capturing people's attention and following this formula. And that's when pastors just kind of break down. At that point, yeah. So I was like, okay, can AI help us with that? So I made something called the Bible Content Creator. Bible Content Creator specializes in crafting spiritual rich, high-impact short video scripts designed for social media. The service transforms any provided scripture or Christian topic into 5 engaging, ready-to-film scripts that inspire reflection and connection. So if you have ChatGPT on your phone, I am sharing for the first time ever, just exclusively to this room. If you scan that QR, it's going to take you to ChatGPT, and it's going to open a GPT that is trained to do this. This has been 9 months in the making, this project, this AI agent. No, Gumi, you cannot use it. So anyways, the GPT, the AI agent, is trained to create a captivating hook. And I will show you exactly what I'm talking about. This is all the the wording. Here's a sample. Let's go right into a sample. This is a 2-paragraph from a script that I took from the internet. This is someone's presentation, and if you want to read it. So this is someone's transcript from a presentation. If I was to make a video saying the most important journey I can take in life is this next, people are going to scroll next. People are not going to watch that. So I was like, okay. By using this agent, you can take this. So take your sermon, which you wrote on Word or wherever, copy, throw it in the agent, and the agent will output this. You will get a hook. So again, this was my input, was the previous slide. This was my input, and this is the output that I got. Scrolling through life and still wondering why it feels empty? Maybe it's not because you're lost. Maybe you're just looking in the wrong places. Hook, main content. Forget chasing trends or copying what everyone else is doing. The real answer, it's already inside. So again, here's your whole script. So it has a hook, main content, spiritual reflection, call to action, because that's the formula to a good reel. People who are making and again, this took a lot of studying. This was like 6 months of studying, like what makes a good video for short format. And then you will get a title. This is the title for this. And you will get a caption, because you need a caption for your short format reels, TikToks, blah, blah, blah. The captions are high on SEO. The title is like short and captivating. So yeah, you have a good video should have a good hook, have good content, which is like the meat. It should have a spiritual reflection, and it should have a call to action. If you don't have call to actions in your short format content, nothing's going to happen. A call to action will help you create engagement. Engagement will help the algorithm like your content. The algorithm likes when people comment. The algorithm likes when people like. The algorithm likes when people share. That's why like negative content tends to be blasted, because if I don't agree with that, let me give them a piece of my mind. So all the algorithm sees is like, ooh, that content's hot. People are engaging. Let me keep pushing it. The algorithm doesn't care if it's good or bad. The algorithm cares for engagement. Are people commenting? Are people sharing? Are people liking? And right now, engagement is by comments. The whole like is good, but it's not the most effective. The most effective thing is when people comment, and when people comment long. No longer short comments are like, thanks, that doesn't count. When people are like, hey, did you know that actually, in fact, you're totally wrong because this, the algorithm's like, ooh, I like that. Let's keep boosting it. That's how you get more views. There's a short, that's a quick course on content. That's why the formula for this content is very specific. You want to create a call to action. What's one childhood obsession you never outgrew? Could it be a map to your future? Share below. Let's start a conversation. Now you're telling people, talk to me. Leave it in the comments. So that once people start engaging with you in the comments, the algorithm's like, ooh, this is hot stuff. This is good. We're going to keep pushing it. We're going to keep pushing it. And that's how you get to the 1,000, 10,000, 50,000 views easily, because now people are engaging with you. It's no longer about throwing money. It's no longer about liking it. It's about that organic reach. So anyways, eventually we will get to sharing with you. For those of you that want to help me pilot this. Like I said, it's gone through several tests, and it does amazing things. And so what you can do, like I said, you already write your sermon, or you already wrote a devotional. You take this piece, you throw it at it, and it will give you 5 scripts. Why 5 scripts? Because once you record those 5, now you have something to post Monday through Friday, if that's what you want to do. You have the scripts. Usually the scripts are the hardest part. Once you have those scripts, you put up your phone and you just read the script. You use something like CapCut, put it on the teleprompter, and you just read. Obviously, you practice the script. Don't just give it some energy. Give it some like pop. And now you have your scripts, and you just record yourself. And now you can do the other side. So again, AI as a tool to follow our lead, not AI as a tool to lead the way. So you already did the hard work of the sermon and the devotional, but you're struggling to do that other side. So again, this is, eventually we'll share contacts and information, and I'll eventually send you the link to those of you that are interested in using this tool. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So now we're going to go into, as we're wrapping up, like I said, we're going to talk about the ethics of AI. And I've told you all the amazing things that AI can do and all the amazing things, but now we're going to talk about some of the risk and emerging ethical considerations, because who here's a pastor, or who here has a role of leadership, or who here helps children? Any? I think everybody, right? These are some of the things that we're starting to face that I would like for you to be aware of, because this is where you as a pastor come in. Because AI can do a lot of things, but some of these things only a pastor, only a human can do. Here's some statistics, and these statistics have to do with what's next. I like to share this in many of my presentations, the growth of the loneliness within the US. In overall loneliness in American adults, 36% of adults report experiencing loneliness. Young adults, 61% of 18 to 25-year-olds express serious loneliness. And one thing is loneliness, another thing is solitude. This one is the one that just shook me to the core. Mothers with young children, 51% of mothers with young children report experiencing serious loneliness. 51%. 43% of young adults report increase in loneliness since the outbreak of the pandemic. A lot of us have heard about the loneliness epidemic, how it's equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day if somebody is suffering of serious loneliness. If you have 10 young adults at your church, about maybe 6 out of 10 of them could be suffering of serious loneliness, which is the equivalent of 15 cigarettes a day, smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That is very bad. And the outcomes of what is happening, obesity, depression, anxiety, suicide, that's why we're seeing all these things on the uptick. Because of loneliness, we are creating less and less social spaces for people to gather. The church is one of the only places that are left now where people can gather. Many times people gather at church, but they're still lonely at church. They come in, sit down, and then they go home, and they check mark church, but they didn't benefit from church. They didn't experience the social part. And with this, with the uprise in loneliness, there's been an uprise in, I shared this last week, 2 weeks ago. I was at Oakwood University, and I said, and the professors were like, students are using AI to cheat, and that's the conversation that's happening, AI for cheating. Students using AI to cheat is the least of your worries at this point. Students and young adults and teens are starting to build emotional relationships with AI. That is a proven, there's a study that just came out by MIT, which, we'll go back to this one here. A 2024 survey by the Digital Wellness Lab found that 53% of teens believe generative AI tools can act as a friend. That is 53%. So they are no longer being in social spaces. With the uptick and growth of the loneliness epidemic and the loneliness in the US, not the world, it is the US that has an uptick in loneliness. Teenagers are running towards AI because now they can chat with AI. Yes, they can still do their homework, they can still do the research for them, but now they're like, hey, I'm struggling with this. They're using it as a tool to talk to it, which sounds very weird to many of you, but that is a reality. Probably some of the younger crowd in here knows that Instagram has developed like AI friends, AI profiles. So now teenagers are like, hey, come chat with your favorite movie character, which is an AI generated. And now I recently had a friend said, she said, I was like super lonely. I tried calling my parents and they were too busy. Her parents live out of state, in a different state. She's like, I tried calling my sister, nothing. I'm new to the state. I don't really have friends. And she's like, I was so tempted to start talking to one of these AI companions. And we're talking a 24-year-old. This is not a 12-year-old, a 24-year-old who was like, I don't know where to go for social interaction. So I was so tempted to go and talk to one of those AI friends on Instagram. And now there's like several platforms who are creating like AI companions. So we're starting to see an uptick in that, which again, as a pastor should worry, yes?
Are those actual avatars?
They're avatars, like they're AI trained, like there's no one behind replying. It's all AI, it's all AI generated, and
It's being fed by the conversation.
yeah. It's kind of like ChatGPT, like by your conversation. I mean, some people jump on ChatGPT and it's like, hey, I'm feeling kind of lonely. I've been feeling kind of depressed. Can you give me some tips and pointers on that? And while yes, it helps, the studies show that yes, it's helping to lower the levels of anxiety on people because of the loneliness, because now they're talking to someone. It's leading to more emotional ties to AI rather than emotional ties to humans. And this is what I want to share. And these are real articles. Teens are forming intense relationship with AI entities and parents have no idea. And this is one that broke the news recently. An AI chatbot pushed a teen to kill himself, a lawsuit against the creator alleges. And there's another story of a teenager who also committed suicide because his parents took away his phone, which gave him access to his AI chatbot friend avatar. And because it's like saying, you're taking my friend away. I'm gonna go jump off a cliff because you took my friend away. So that's why I'm telling teachers, students using AI to cheat on homework, that's no biggie compared to what is coming. And nobody's talking about this, and that's why it's very important for us to share this. Yeah, Pastor.
Yes, sorry for my English. The President Donald Trump signed an executive order on April 23, mandating the implementation of artificial intelligence education in U.S. elementary and secondary schools, promoting courses, certification, and public-private partnerships to equip students and skills in emerging technologies. Then, the AI is inevitable.
Yeah.
But the focus is the problem, because without AI, that teenager who killed himself, the teenager, sadly, he had a mental issue. Then notice it's a risk, but not is a regular risk for all teenagers, but it's a risk.
Yeah.
Then the focus now is the AI. 5 years ago, video games. 10 years ago, music with clips. Or more time ago, all the problems. Then the focus is the communication between fathers and teenagers. No, in this moment, since the teenager was children, the time, anything. But I think the AI is necessary in education, not for spend time just for chatting with.
That is a big focus of something we need to do as a society, is to teach children that AI is a tool, not your friend. And these are, if we go back to this, for example, mothers with young children. Why is that? Why is it that mothers with young children, what's been the decay in society that has led to this 51%?
No fathers.
Well, it says mother with young children, it's not single mothers. Yeah. The decay, no families. The family circle, and not that the families are falling apart, but I'll give you an example. My sister-in-law, because of a job opportunity, moved to Europe. Yay, you. Like, man, you got a job in Italy? What a life. You're living the dream. You're being an amazing professional out there. But now she had a baby. She had a niece. And she's like, I feel so lonely. She has no community. Her family circle, and that is what's happening with the younger generations because of the chase of your professional development. It's like, yeah, oh, wow, you got into MIT? Cool. Now they're moving across the country, but they have no community. There's no ties, there's no friends, and now they're lonely in a dorm room, they're lonely in a community. So again, it is that is contributing to this loneliness epidemic. It is not people that, oh, we're seeing an uptick in sadness. It's an uptick, especially in like broken families or also families that have separated themselves because of professional development. My friend who said, I tried calling she has a very healthy family. She has a mom, a dad, a sister. They're all professionals, but she said they're all so busy with their jobs that now we have no time to be a family. When people stop practicing and being a family, of course you're going to have a decay in the family circle. And here in the US, people are so busy with their day-to-day, trying to make ends meet or chasing their professional dreams, that we forget how to be family. So now we're starting to see this decay. So for example, with mothers, when I got deeper into that study, it's because there is no community. You know, they stay at home with kiddos because the dad has to work more now because it's so hard to be single income now. So dad's still there, but now dad is working 2 jobs or 6 days a week, and now mom is alone, and there's no community. Our communities, we shelter ourselves so much. People here in the U.S. tend to shelter themselves at home. So again, the decay in that. So that's an opportunity for us, the church, to create those social spaces. Like, hey, I was teaching about this just at the women's retreat this weekend, and I said, it's amazing that we have a women's retreat, but shouldn't a women's retreat be by Adventists for the community? Shouldn't this retreat be for those moms? Like, hey, moms, we the Adventist moms will take care of the kids, and you come have a retreat. You come learn about healthy cooking. You come learn about health and why are we doing Adventist women's retreats for Adventist women? That was kind of my take for them. That was my challenge to them. It's like, this is an opportunity for us, again, meet the needs of our communities because we're seeing this. So how do we, because this is the world. This is the world. This is society. But what are we doing to, like, okay, those are opportunities for the church. I saw a hand. Yeah.
And military wives are extremely vulnerable.
Yes.
Because they end up in a new place and then their husband is deployed.
Yeah.
Horrible loneliness.
Yeah.
And organizations like Mom Co., formerly MOPS, addresses this, and you can do it from within.
Yeah. So again, opportunities for the church to do evangelism because of these issues that are happening. Yeah, again, AI wasn't the one that led to this. You know, there's context to what happened, but that was the ultimate factor. It's not like, oh, I'm not going to let my kid use AI because he might kill himself. No, that is not the story. But again, we're starting to see these decays because this kiddo was suffering. That's a beautiful, loving mother, but maybe the parents are too busy and he's being left alone at home. There's no circles, there's no activities, there's no social life for him. So he recurs to AI chatbots that lead to, you know, he's already suffering of all these other things. And same teens are forming these ties. Here's another one that I want to share. Again, talking on the ethics of it. This one's another one that worries as a new father a lot. AI is being trained on images of real kids without consent. So now you have AI, you know, Google develops its AI. Have any of you used like Meta's avatar thingy, make yourself into, you know, Meta has an AI image generator. How do you think that AI was trained? It was trained by all the data that we collectively gave it. All the pictures we upload, all the comments we make, all the content we upload, Meta's like, hey, free data. We're going to train AIs with it. So now you have AIs are being trained on images of real kids without consent. Any child who has any photos or videos of themselves online is now at risk. And that leads to a conversation, again, that I've had with a couple churches who are concerned on like, Should we be live streaming children's faces? Should we be live streaming the children's story? That's a whole other conversation to be had, something to reflect on. And then Amazon's new announcement, Amazon announces Amazon's getting rid of the privacy thing, and now they're actually gonna start listening to people because they need to train their AIs with all this data that they gather. Yes, sir.
The kids on the right, how their faces blurred, did you know that AI engineering could reverse that now?
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. There's an AI that came out to like blur faces, but it's like, okay, it's still reading faces and collecting that data. So yeah, it's very interesting. So again, these are like, how do we, again, as a parent, I'm like, okay, I'm done posting. I made a Facebook post on that. Like, hey, I know you all love to see, I've told my parents, can you please, like if I share pictures with you, they're for you to have, and that's it. Please don't be posting my child on social media because I don't want AI bots. When I was down in Mexico presenting about this topic, the ethics of AI, a university down there had an issue where through an AI, students took an AI and they were able to take pictures of their classmates, female classmates, and with AI technology, they were able to make images of them in the nude. Because they had so many pictures that they've uploaded to Instagram and Facebook, so they started using AI. Again, this is the bad side. This is using the hammer to go break windows, not using the hammer to build shelter in churches. So this is the other side of things that we need to be aware of. And again, as a media director, it is part of my responsibility to educate on this because we are doing media, we're doing videos. How much are we exposing children to these dangers, of the digital space now? When we upload pictures, when we take pictures of our children's events, like, hey, let's upload these 50 pictures of our kids to Facebook. I don't know if you've read the stories. I don't have a screenshot of the article, but there's been individuals that have been detained and sent to prison because they've developed child pornography based on images they found on Facebook of kids. Yeah. So they're like, oh, this kid is cute. Let me take that picture and then use AI to generate. And it is using that child's face, which is the problem. A lot of problems. So now there's maybe, hopefully, I know in Europe there's legislature already of like, what do you do when someone creates a deep fake of yourself, especially women? Like, what are the consequences? The U.S. is not really working on that legislature. I don't know if they will, but I know in Europe they're working on legislature. If you do a deep fake of someone, especially a woman, you will be prosecuted and sent to prison because you don't do that. So again, I don't know if we'll ever see that in the U.S., but hopefully we will. So yeah, these are the other sides of the coin that we need to be aware of that are also opportunities for us as pastors. So who will be the voice of truth if people are seeking help in AI chatbots before reaching out to their spiritual leaders? If the young adults and teens and members of your local church are, hey, let me talk to an AI chatbot before I talk to my pastor. Are you building those bridges with them enough for you to sit down and talk to them? I think that's an opportunity for growth. That's an opportunity for us to be aware of, because if it's not talking to you, if it's not talking to a human, now the technology exists for me to go talk to someone that's going to make me feel better, and it is not a real human. It is an AI, and who knows where that could lead, especially under certain conditions that we've seen. I just always say in the era of AI, the human touch will be really valuable. It is the new luxury.
Reflecting on what you hear is so powerful, which is why we emphasize reflection practice at the Propel conference. So I want you to stop and think for a moment about the things that Ernesto Hernandez shared and how they could be applied to your own ministry. What was the big idea for you? How will you apply this in your own ministry context? What are you inspired to do? And when this episode finishes, I encourage you to pause for 5 or 10 minutes and just let your mind wander and reflect on this. This reflection time can be really powerful. Well, that's it for this episode. We'd love to hear from you. You can send an email to podcast@propelconference.org. And please mark your calendar for this upcoming Propel Conference coming to Silver Spring, Maryland, April 12 to 15. Registration is now open at propelconference.org. Special thanks to Ernesto Hernandez for speaking at the 2025 Propel Conference and to Advent Source for sponsoring this episode. This has been the Propel Podcast, inspiration and innovation to grow your church. The Propel Podcast is produced by the Sermon Review crew, and the event recording services were provided by Adventist Learning Community. I'm Larry Witzel, wishing you God's richest blessing in your own evangelistic journey. Please join us again next time for another episode of the Propel Podcast.